What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to JJD TV. I'm your host Josh, and I've come to you with the episode you guys have been begging me to do for a while now. I don't know how many times I get it a day because it's just the same thing. People saying, Josh, we need to know who should Borussia Dortmund sign in the upcoming January transfer window. So I had to sit down and think about this a lot because there are a lot of names. There's a lot of different reasons why players could come to the club, why players should not come to the club. So this is just going to be just a real natural transfer talk. So I'm going to be talking about names that have actually been linked to the club. I'm going to be talking about names who I personally think that we should target. And I'm going to be giving you two names at the very end who I actually think has a realistic chance of coming this January transfer window. So let's just start off with the club. The club is right now sitting in 5th place. We've sacked Lucien Favre. We've signed Edin Terzic, or promoted Edin Terzic to our new manager. We don't know what's going to happen with his future. That means several different things when it comes to transferring and looking for players to either sell or buy. It means that the board has to plan it around a manager who's going to be here for a while. So if they think that Terzic is going to be that guy, they may give him some opportunity to spend some money. But if they think that maybe Jesse Marsch or Marco Rose or whoever it may be could come in, they're going to have to be very careful about the players that they want to bring in because it may not suit the manager that is coming at the end of the season, which is looking likely that we're going to target. So that makes this January transfer window very interesting, which is making me very excited to do this episode because the board has to take a look at our position first off, which is in 5th place. Unacceptable. We know that. All the fans know that, the board knows that, the players know that. We're a top 2 club, that is where we should be, and right now we're actually a decent amount of points away from even competing with the top 2 right now. That suggests that we should start targeting some players. But like I just mentioned, it's hard to want to justify throwing cash out there for players who could potentially not fit the new manager system. Now it's a debate. Do we go for it, risk the financial implications of signing these players and not fitting with the new manager system, or giving the trust in Edin Terzic? I don't know. I honestly don't, but that is some things that you guys have to take into consideration when I drop a lot of these names on you. So we're gonna start off with just some names that I've heard, I've laughed at, and I just wanna get them out there. So we're gonna start off with, of course, Mauro Icardi. I heard this rumor. I haven't even read an article about this rumor yet. I've just been seeing it on Instagram, Twitter. People have been tagging me in it. I did a couple different votes that were aggressively against it. And yeah, so I'm gonna talk about it. Mauro Icardi, in my opinion, is a great striker. I've always liked him. I thought he did so many good things at Inter, but he comes with too much baggage, that being his wife. His wife is honestly a nightmare to deal with. It's why the guy probably didn't get to the level he potentially could be. He's not doing it right now at PSG. He's on unbelievably high wages. He is never going to be a target for Borussia Dortmund for several reasons. His attitude being up there for a huge one. I'm not going to touch his quality because I think he could do a job in the Bundesliga, but it's definitely not worth the baggage. On top of that, his wages would be ridiculous. There's no realistic or feasible way to get him to the club. So, I mean, I'm not saying it's not going to happen, but those are my opinions. I think that we should stay as far away as we possibly can from Mauro Icardi. Looking at some other players that I've seen us be linked to, one being Nicholas Stark. And these rumors could come from all over the place, guys. But Nicholas Stark is a great center back who plays for Hertha Berlin. I think he'd be honestly a great signing for us. I think that he would fit the kind of player that we're looking for, that being a center back. And he just brings a little bit to the team. He's also very versatile where he can go up to the midfield, which I personally like. I like that he's German. I think he can just bring a little bit more quality as well as just he's quick. And I like that about him being a center back. We don't know what's going to happen to some of the futures. Akanji, for example, is being linked to the Premier League. But I think that'd be a realistic transfer target for us. I don't know anything further. We haven't been linked to him for a while now. I'm just saying, for you Dortmund fans out there, he's someone we should keep an eye on, potentially for the summer, or even just somehow in the January transfer window, which I do doubt, but I think there could be a possibility with that. Now we're gonna look at another player that I rate a lot. I've been reading in the last few weeks that he's being linked to Bayern Munich, which sucks because I was linking him to the club. I've mentioned him in a previous video, and that is Boubacar Kamara. He plays for Marseille in Ligue 1, and he is a great young center back. He completely fits the profile player that we need to target. He's 20, French, versatile. Again, he's been a lot of the times in Ligue 1 playing as a center defensive mid, but has definitely kind of got raised as a center back and can play both. I think that he's got a lot more potential to grow as a player, to learn from the likes of Mats Hummels, even Akanji if he obviously sticks around, Piszczek. and he just would fit just the model of Borussia Dortmund. The other thing is that it seemed at the beginning of the season, because of Marseille's financial implications, that he could be available on a relatively decent deal. Saying that, getting a player who would probably cost 20 to 30 mil would probably require us to sell a couple players, which I don't want to get into all of that. I just think that he's definitely someone we should keep an eye on, especially knowing now that Bayern is keeping an eye on them as well. This other player, again, I know is completely unrealistic, but this is again one of the JJD TV transfer targets. I mentioned him a lot. You guys are probably sick of hearing his name, but that is Mario Mandzukic. Mario Mandzukic is a free agent. He is still a free agent right now. He's getting linked right now to, I believe, AC Milan, potentially even Inter, taking a look at him. He's still, even Bayern actually. I did hear that Bayern, in an article I just read, that he was potentially getting linked back to the club because I guess Choupo-Moting isn't doing it. But he's a good striker. He's got a lot of experience. He's obviously won a Champions League with Bayern. He's played in the Bundesliga. He's played at the top clubs. He's versatile, I guess. I don't know why he played it on the wing in Juve, in my opinion, but he'd be a great one to target as a backup striker. Aerial presence. I know you've heard me say it before. Not realistic, though, because he is a free agent, which means he would ask for crazy wages, but I don't know, maybe you get him on a half-year deal, finish out the rest of the season. More than likely won't happen. That's the type of profile player that I would personally like to look at. Similar to an Olivier Giroud, who I would have talked about if he didn't completely turn around his form and is definitely obviously staying at Chelsea. And then let's get into a player who I want to spend a little bit of time on. And you guys may be surprised, but this isn't one of the two players who I think is realistic. I shouldn't say that. He could be realistic, but I don't think we're going to sign him in January, and that is Donyell Malen. Donyell Malen, in my opinion, hits all the boxes when it comes to the attacking players on our team. Having our wingers in the fact that we play Reina out there a decent amount, who isn't a natural winger, the dip in form of Jadon Sancho, as well as Hazard having the injuries, our wings have been a bit of an issue this season, as well as a backup striker. Yes, Moukoko just scored and became the youngest Bundesliga scorer of all time. I can't wait, but I still think we needed that player who, even if we wanted to show that Moukoko is still a part of this team, can play other positions. Donyell Malen can play on the wings, he can play through the middle. He's a proven goal scorer for PSV. He's played for the Dutch team where he's scored goals as well. He, for me, checks all the boxes. The number one reason I don't think we're going to sign him in January is that I believe he'll cost probably between 35-40 million. I don't think PSV would be very excited to let him go mid-season. They're still competing for the league as well as the Europa League. And of course, he wants to compete for a spot at the Euros. For even personal opinion, he may not want to just see if the season, get a lot of minutes, and then maybe make that move come the Euros. So I think he is definitely a transfer target for us for the summertime, as well as potentially leading back to having to talk to the manager. Whoever the new manager may be in, maybe they don't fancy Malen. Maybe they do see he's a big part. So I think dropping 35-40 million is kind of a no-no when it comes to this January transfer window. And you guys are probably thinking, Josh, you've been talking about a decent amount of attackers. Where are the defenders? Well, let me tell you right now, I can promise you we will not sign a right back. Everyone is saying, Josh, come on, like Thomas Meunier. Yes, I know, I've heard his name a lot, but we have three right backs. We have Paslak, we have Marai, and of course we have Thomas Meunier. That is not an issue right now for the board, considering the wage of Thomas Meunier, the young upcoming abilities of Marai. He could get some chances, as well as just having that extra squad player there in Paslak. And then over to the left back, we have Guerrero, and Schultz is going to have to do the job for now. We're not going to be looking to spend money in those positions right now, in my opinion. The center back's a different story, especially with the rumors linking Akanji to the Premier League. I cannot see that happening in January, potentially this summer. And then that also comes to the point where, like I mentioned, with the financial implications. I don't think we can go out there and drop pretty much any kind of money without selling some players first. And there's going to be some interesting names. I'm not going to dive into these. I want to hear your guys' opinion on it. But these are a few players that right now could potentially be linked to the door. I don't think it's going to happen in January, but you never know. And right now, Dahoud is the top of that list, because Dahoud, for me, is a player who I thought was going to leave at the beginning of the season. Completely changed my opinion on him with the amount of amazing games he's had. But he can't get in. I don't know what it is. It doesn't matter the manager. He's just not fancied. He didn't even get brought to a couple of the games, and it just makes me think where his future lies. Julian Brandt, of course, is another one, considering that Reina and Royce are other center attacking midfielders. That means we have three. We play in one center attacking midfielder position. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens to those type of players. Of course, Schultz's futures is up for debate. So, I mean, you can get some money somewhere, but again, I don't think the board is going to want to make these drastic changes, knowing that a change in management will more than likely happen at the end of the season. So that leaves me with two players. Two realistic players, because that's what you guys are here for. You want to know who should we sign that A, fits our financial implications, doesn't get tied down to big wages on a long-term deal, and that fits the people we need, as well as who would want to come. So let's start out at the back, and that is Antonio Rudiger. There's been a few rumors linking him to Borussia Dortmund. They've definitely cooled down in the past, but he is not getting the playing time he wants over at Chelsea. The Euros are coming up. That means that he probably wants to go somewhere in January on a 6-month loan deal, and he wants to play. So I'm just saying, throwing it out there, and yes, people are gonna say you do not want Rudiger. We're looking at realistic targets of hungry players who want to play. He's German, which I like. He could slide into that back line when we need him. He's relatively quick. Yes, he's not the best on the ball, but he can be there as that extra body when we desperately need it, and he could potentially give him an argument. Come play for us. Come try to turn your fortunes around and compete for a Euro spot. And even if he doesn't get into the starting 11 when it comes to Hummels and Akanji, potentially, and even Zagadou in front of him, he's still there on a loan deal and would probably get more playing time at Dortmund than he would Chelsea. And it could also be a stroke of genius because he could obviously get in good form and bring a little something to our back line. The other position for me is up front, and that is Divock Origi. Now, not the player I'm saying I would love to sign right now, but realistically, he's not playing for Liverpool. He is, again, looking for a starting spot at the Euros for Belgium. Probably not a starting spot, but at least try to make it on the plane ride there. And of course, he does have that Bundesliga experience. He's played for Wolfsburg. He played for them in a season where they did not do very well. He was help them keep them up and going through the playoffs there. So I like that. I like the fact that it's kind of like the Michy Batshuayi. I mean, that German blood or that Belgian blood runs well in Borussia Dortmund, but he would fit. He would come in on a short-term loan deal. He'd get more minutes than obviously he would get at Liverpool, still playing for a top club. And when our strikers need a break, whether it be Mukuku, potentially even Haaland, any injuries, it just gives you that extra body there because you don't know what's going to happen when it comes to the striker position, and it just seems a little bit safer. You can give him a good argument to come to this club and hopefully do a job. So those are the two realistic ones, mainly because they're loan deals. You don't have to suck up the wages, and then they actually fit the two positions that I think we need to address. So I can't wait to hear what you guys have to think about this. There was a lot of names being linked to the club. I'm trying to go as realistic as I can. I touched on a couple of the other ones like Boubacar Kamara and Donyell Malen, who I would love to see in the club. Probably won't happen until the summer transfer window. So I want to hear what you guys think about Rudiger and of course about Origi. Do you think they're realistic? Do you think they would fit? Do you think we're going to make any moves? Because it wouldn't surprise me honestly if we made none. So I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say. I hope you do enjoy the video. We are obviously continually growing. We're over 1.367, whatever it is, K right now is the time of filming, and it's really appreciate all the support. I hope everyone who's new to the channel enjoys this video, and I can't wait to hear your guys' opinion. So if you are new around here, be sure to comment, like, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.